Hi, my name's Chuck Stubeck, and I'm about to be interviewed by Bobby Fazio. We used to sneak him into the drive-in when I drove this on the street.
All right, we're back at the 2022 NHRA Finals here in Pomona, and I'm walking around looking at the stock and super stock vehicles. Check out this awesome 1969 Plymouth Roadrunner 446-pack car in super stock F automatic, driven by Mr. Chuck Stubeck. Chuck, how you doing?
Good, Bobby. How are you today?
I'm pretty good. Chuck, can you tell everybody where you come from?
I'm right out of Chatsworth, California, about 60 miles west of Pomona here.
All right, Chuck, now I understand that you are a retired police officer. Is that correct?
Yes, I did 37 years with the Los Angeles Police Department, and I retired 14 years ago.
Wow. Did you ever meet any famous people while doing that job?
I worked Hollywood for 30 years, so there's not too many I didn't.
Oh.
Probably the biggest thrill I got was one day I was asked to escort a celebrity from his bus to this guitar store, but they never told me who it was. So anyway, I was at the scene, the bus pulled up, and the bus driver got out and said, my client will be ready in a couple of minutes, just stand right here. So I was standing there, and there's 500 or 700 people at this guitar center here on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood. And I've got my, like this, and I'm standing by the bottom of the bus, and the door opens, and the driver says, "Officer, you can go ahead and escort my client now to the back door if you would. This is Mr. Cash." And I turned around and looked up, and it was Johnny Cash.
Wow.
And I couldn't even, I was blah, 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 blah. So we walked for about 50 feet together, and he asked me my wife's name, and he said, "You got a piece of paper?" And he signed his name on a little piece of paper for Linda, and that's just one. I mean, there's so
awesome.
many of them. It's not
so
funny.
I'm not the most famous person you ever met, though. Now I'm sad. All right, let's talk about this 446-pack. Tell us all about it.
Basically, I bought this car when it was 1 year old from my neighbor. It had 12,000 miles on it, and it was originally a high-end Roadrunner, vinyl top, rally wheels, nice bucket seats, had nice interior, 383 4-speed car, and I bought it in 1970. Drove it on the street till 1986 when we stripped it and painted it this 72 GM color. And then from that point on, we just put a bunch of different engines behind the 4-speed and wound up breaking too many parts, so we went to an automatic, and 20 some odd years ago we decided to go super stock racing, and we run the low deck Chrysler motor at board and stroke 440 inches, runs a Hogan manifold, roller cam from comp. Cylinder heads are from Eric Jones, T&D valve train. The block has been machined by QMP. They do fantastic work. It runs a NASCAR type Jessel distributor in place of the regular Chrysler one. Runs a Missouri reverse flow water pump through a Ron Davis radiator. We run a master lube accumulator so we can prime the engine before we even start it. Carburetors are stock out of the box, with the exception of jet plates in place of a metering block.
What kind of carburetors came on these 6-pack
It's exactly the ones that are on there right now, Holley's, 2300s.
2300s? What kind of CFM are each one of those?
Well, they're pretty big. It's 1350 for all of them.
Wow. So
the front and the back are 500 apiece. It's your 1000, and your center carburetor that you run off of is 350 CFM.
Okay. And then the cylinder heads, you're still running the steel heads. I know a lot of cars in super stock are allowed aftermarket replacement or aluminum, but you're running the old school. Looks like
we've got the 288 high performance Mopar head. Have a couple of sets of them. and they're basically as far as you can go. The aluminum heads are being worked on now by Eric Jones, and hopefully early next year we'll have aluminum heads for it.
So you are switching, okay.
Yep.
What are the valve sizes on these heads?
These are stock 281 174s. I run a Manley valve and a Manley small 1.5" double spring. Headers are custom made by Greg Holman out of Arizona. Came right out to the house and built them in the garage for me. Built me 3 sets.
What kind of compression is it?
It has to be stock. It's 10-to-1.
These are 10-to-1?
Yeah, 10-to-1.
A flat top piston came on one of these?
These are flat top pistons, yes, with valve release.
What kind of pistons do you run?
I run CP pistons. These have Oliver rods in it, and this engine here has a Callie's crank in it. We run ProFlight transmission.
Now here's the sticker. 3440 is your min weight in Super Stock F automatic.
Right.
440 6-pack was advertised at 390 and it's rated at 385. So just a 5 horsepower difference on the good side, we'll say.
Yeah.
Very nice interior here.
The car was built by Phil Mandela from PMR Motorsports.
Yeah, he definitely builds a lot of the cars out here. He does a great job, and he's helping everybody. I see him lining so many people up on the starting line.
Oh, he's great, yeah.
Great guy.
The shop is just right down the street. Chromoly cage.
So with the chromoly cage, you're allowed to go to a slightly smaller diameter, a little bit lighter weight inside the car.
Yep. And this has got precision shifter. I use the old style ACD digital or MSD chip box. I have digital, but this one works fine, so I don't want to mess with it. We have different MSD chips that we put in there to shift it at 1 to 2 at 68, 2 to 3 at 72, and then through the lights. And my trans brake is from PMR.
Okay, well what kind of RPM do you go through the lights?
A good track like this one here, it'll go through about 81.
All right, and what are you leaving at?
We leave at 3,000.
3,000, okay, not bad. What kind of mile an hour does this car run?
The fastest it's ever gone at Sonoma went 139.50 at 9:38.
Wow, okay. Yeah. And what's the index for F automatic?
We're at 1045.
All right. Who's the pooch here on the side of the car?
That was a sponsor from Lagunitas Brewery right there underneath Schneider Performance, who does my converters.
Len Snyder does your torque converters. What size torque converter do you run?
10-inch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we take a look in the trunk too?
Sure. Yeah.
2 turbo start, 16-volt batteries.
Yeah, get a lot of people back in the back of this thing. In the
this is huge.
We used to sneak them into the drive-in when I drove this on the street. Put them in here, pull out the little plugs on the bottom, let them breathe, and get them in there.
Oh, that's awesome. So we have a about like a 2.5 gallon.
3-gallon Jazz. I think they call that a Pro Stock cell.
Single fuel pump.
Single fuel pump. It's a big Holly. Runs off the relays here.
And we have boltable weight here.
Yep, these
You're allowed to bolt in weight. I believe as long as it's less than 100 pounds, anything more than that, I think has to be welded in stock and super stock. Yep,
I have it bolted in here, and I also have a big heavy bar if I want to change classes.
What kind of rear do you run in the car?
PMR made, this is a 9-inch Ford with a 4-link.
And a gear ratio, are you willing to share?
It depends on the track. It's anywhere between a 543 and a 513.
Okay, so that can change, you know, high altitude, low altitude. These are pretty big tires, so I guess
1432 Goodyears on the back.
I think this is about as big as you're allowed to go in super stock.
And the 28 4.5 Goodyear front runners.
Okay, now you want to tell us about first round of eliminations today? How that went down?
Well, you don't want to do what I did. We had a really good light, and we raced Len Snyder, a very good driver. Caught him by 800 feet, and instead of using my brake, I lifted and let him come by me.
Yeah, now in my car, if I lift, it gets out of the power band pretty quick.
Right now.
Is it similar like that, you know,
yeah, well,
for a 440?
The setup on this one here with the 6-pack, your front and rear carburetors are vacuum operated. And the instant you take your foot 1/4 inch off the floor, boom, you lose 1,000 CMF. Front end just falls down like that. And when you go to floor it again, you just don't have anything.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
I know it. All right, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But you were battling some stumbling issues this weekend. Do you think you got that squared away?
Yeah, we had 2 minor issues that we overcame. It was, for some reason, the front float was a little low, and I was 1.5 pounds low on fuel pressure. So I put that in. It ran perfect on that last run.
All right, ran perfect. Just weren't able to get the win. I know the frustration. No. But Chuck, we wish you luck at the next race you go to, unless you're finished for the year. Do you have any more?
That's it.
That's
now
it. Okay.
Now it's just maintenance on me and maintenance on the car.
All right. Well, good luck to you.
Okay, Bobby.
Both maintenance on yourself and on the car. What? You're getting a hip replacement? Is
9 days to get a new hip.
All right. Well, we wish you the best of luck, and can't wait to see you back out there in 23.
Okay.